Hello everyone, this is Shubham from Shubham Reacts. Today we will be seeing all the prerequisites environment setup which we have to do before we start React development. And today we are going to cover the different ways of installing Node in our system. So for this particular video, we are concentrating more on the Windows side. So today we will be installing Node using various methods in our Windows machine. This session is really very important because it will tell us what are the things we need in our system to get started for our UI development using React.js. Node is an open source framework which allows us to run our JavaScript code outside the browser. So Node is really important to execute our React.js code. So today we will be seeing how we can install Node using various methods and alternatives. So we'll simply type Node.js download. Okay. When we search, we'll get this node.org URL. Okay, we just simply have to go to this particular URL. And if you see, there are a lot of different frameworks and different kinds of packages are available to download Node. So based on our system configuration and the type of OS we have, we'll be selecting it. Okay, so if you see, we have Windows installer, we have Windows binary, we have Mac OS, we have Linux. So a lot of things are, even if you want to do open source coding, you have the source code available here, right? For Windows machine, definitely we will go for Windows installer, and we have to select which version of our, which configuration of our system suits. So for me, it is actually 64-bit. So I will quickly go and click on the 64-bit package, right? So it will hardly take some amount of time to download. So if you see, it has already downloaded the Node installer. So once it is downloaded, it is a simple way of installing Node. So you just need to install it as a wizard. So once it is done, we'll quickly go through and see how we can validate it, right? So now it has completed the wizard. So quickly I'll go close all this and try to open command prompt. Simply click on that. Got the command prompt. So just we'll type node-version. So if you see, we have downloaded version 14.17.5 successfully. So this is one way of installing Node, which is one of the easiest way to do so. So the next part, we'll try to install Node using a different method which is called NVM. So let's have a look on that. So NVM stands for Node Version Manager. So if a developer needs to access different kinds of Node versions, so then NVM comes very handy in that particular situation. Many times in our development purposes, we actually see a lot of Node versions, right? If you're working on multiple projects which uses different versions of Node, in that particular case, NVM is very important because it helps us to switch between the Node versions based on our requirement and the situation, right? Google, and we'll try to type NVM Windows. So if you see, we get a GitHub link. We quickly click on that. And if you scroll down a little bit, we see a download now option, right? So this will redirect us to the installer page. So if you see, there are a lot of things given, lot of options given, whatever NVM packages are available. So basically we have to download NVM setup zip, which is the setup part of NVM. So yeah, so now if you see, it will hardly take some amount of time to get downloaded. Once it has downloaded, let's go and extract it and let's get started with the installation. We'll just quickly extract here. Right, so we got our NVM setup. So quickly we'll run the wizard. Right, so now again same thing, we'll accept the agreement. We quickly go next. So for me, the Node is already installed. So it is asking me, it is prompting me, do you want to NVM to control this version? So definitely I'll tell yes, because I will need this NVM later on when I start my development part. So let's say yes for that and let's finish it. All right, so now I will quickly jump to the command prompt. right? So now if I type NVM -version, so it says it is running the version of 1.1.7, and along with it gives me a lot of options what we can play around, right? We have NVM arch, we have NPM install any kind of version we want, then we have NVM list, right? So let's get started with some of these commands. So now if I want to check what kind of versions are available, what kind of node versions are available on my system, I will simply tell NVM list, and it will list down whatever the versions of node available into my system. So if you see, I have just downloaded 14.17.5, so it is showing that. So suppose now I get a requirement, I have an application which basically runs at 12.14.0 suppose. So it is very easy to install node using NVM. So let's get started. The command is NVM install, and let's say 12.14.0, right? So if you see, it starts downloading as soon as I hit the command, right? So it will take some amount of time, and again it will download and make it ready for our system. So if you see now, the installation has completed, right? So we will use the previous command to see which versions of node are available into us. So now we see that installation has been completed. So now let's use the same command to see what versions are available onto my system. So again, NVM space list will list down all the versions available, and along with that there is a star mark which actually says which version you are currently using. That means the default version your system is pointing to, right? So as of now, if you see, 14.17.5 is the default version which my system is using, but definitely if the requirement comes and we want to actually change the version, switch the version, so the command for that is NVM use and the version number. So for my case it is for 12.14.0. so if you say, so now it is telling now using this. So now if I do NVM list, it shows, and basically it is pointing to 12.14.0. so NVM is one of the most handy tool when it comes to manage the versions of node. So definitely this is one of the important reasons why we use NVM. So this actually has a very big importance when we do parallel development for different React projects or node projects. So we'll see in the next session, we'll see how we can download any code editor. So the next thing we are going to set up is our code editor. So code editor is the one where we will be writing our code and troubleshoot our code, right? So for this purpose, for this session, we will be using Visual Studio Code, which is one of the most popular code editor in this world. So let's get started that how we can configure our VS Code. So just in the Google, we'll type VS Code and hit enter. So we'll get the link at the top. So we'll just quickly open that link. So we have all the platforms available. So we can download it for Windows, we can download it for Mac. So whatever system suits you the best, we can download that package, right? So we'll just quickly click on the Windows package. Right? If you see, the download has started. So it will take some few minutes or few seconds based on your bandwidth. So now once it is done, we can see whether we can launch it or not. Yeah, so our code editor has been downloaded. Let's quickly go to the folder and let's quickly install it. Okay. So the installation is quite easy. It is just like how we install other softwares in our system. We'll accept the agreement and just do all those kind of things. If you want to create a desktop icon, you can check it there, and then we can go next and install it, right? So it may take some few seconds of time to install, but yeah, it is quite fast compared to other softwares. Yeah, and we will do finish, right? So yeah, this is how we will be downloading and installing our VS Code.